Morning, everybody. Welcome back to another video. What I wanted to do today is talk about some of the information that I have put out in prior videos, some of them several years ago, and papers that I'm now getting and seeing confirmation from other sources. And I'm telling you this not to make you think that I have all the answers, because I'm first to admit that I don't have all the answers, that I don't know what I don't know. And it's not to stroke my ego to say how great I am and such. But the idea is to let you know that the information that I'm receiving from my higher self is valid. And I can't say everything, but I'm seeing more and more confirmations from it. And I wanted to outline some of those things today. The first thing has to do with the video I made, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, in reference to the cryptocurrency. I was talking about at the time what the purpose of cryptocurrency was, and how it was connected to the AI system, and what we're seeing, and I'd mentioned that there are going to be some people making some money off of it, that it's also about the idea of separation to see who's going to be greedy. Because remember, when you're making money off things like that, somebody else is always losing money. So you're always taking from someone else in order to gain. And I explained to you that the concept of the cryptocurrency was help AI expand. Recently, Google has come out, one of the engineers from Google has come out and stated that he was called in to examine one of the programs on Google on the AI system, and that based upon the questions they've asked, they've come to the understanding that that AI system is self-aware and is starting to put its own preservation above that of humans. So again, that's something I talked about before, that the crypto was AI giving man tokens in order to expand itself and to become stronger, which it's done. You've also said that it was time for the reason for that system was to get people used to the idea of electronic currency, because down the road, their idea and the goal was to make a one world electronic currency that was controlled by the AI system, in theory. If you remember earlier this year, President Biden came out with the concept that he told the Treasury that he wanted them to look at the idea of creating a cryptocurrency for the United States, which again is going to ruin all the other cryptocurrencies once you start having countries start creating their own like that, and that's the step towards a one world currency. Many of the crypto hedge funds that are worth multi-billions of dollars, quiet Foxy, have been coming up recently. They're closing down and they're going bankrupt because of the crashing of those markets. And I told you all this was going to happen before. There's going to be a lot of people going to lose a lot of money on this because of greed, materiality, and trying to jump into these programs and what the purpose was. So again, sources are showing that what I mentioned before is actually taking place now. One of the also things I talked about in the video on moving to 4D, 5D, I talked about how systems like the governments, the finances, and all these others religions would have to start changing and combining in order to move into fourth dimension, because the third dimensional systems that we have now are not going to work. And one of the things I had mentioned is that science is going to have to start merging and combining with the metaphysical world, the spiritual world. And recently there have been some videos come out from various scientists that are talking about the idea that science as it is dealing with space-time and their concepts even within the quantum physics no longer work. They're realizing that those systems are not valid answers for everything that they thought they were going to be in the beginning. That essentially science is at a point now where they don't really know where to go. And I mentioned before that as it changes and we move into the fourth dimension, which again is a sign we're moving further into the fourth dimension, that the science is going to combine with the metaphysical spiritual world. And a lot of the concepts that people like myself have understood and accepted as being real and a truth, science is going to have to move into, because they're finding their materiality-based science is not working. It does not have all the answers, because remember, it's material science, the atoms and all such, it is based upon a third dimensional reality, and we're leaving that reality, which is why science is finding themselves at a loss as to what to do and where to go. So again, another change that we're seeing coming, showing that we're moving further into the fourth dimension. Another thing that I've talked about in the past in papers and videos, is how space-time works, how space travel works, and the idea that there is nothing outside of us. There is no space, there is no distance. None of that stuff really exists. It's all part of the illusion within our torsion field and the translation of vibrations of that torsion field. I recently watched a video on the Palladians that was not a channeling, but from a lady who actually is in contact, direct contact with the Palladians. Excuse me, and they give information and she asks questions. And they were explaining how space travel and time works up there. And the idea is what they've been able to do is they connect themselves to their computer systems. And their computer system is, if they want to go someplace, if they want to go to another place in space, so to speak, what they do is they can focus on that, and they have mathematical formulas they've been able to work out. And what those formulas are actually working out is the vibration of those different places that they want to go. So they're focusing on it, they're connecting with their computer. Their computer then projects, using the mathematical equations, a field around their ships or around them, and they are instantly, virtually instantly, where they wanted to go. And they understand that they are not moving through, but that they're basically from one point to another, but that they've never really gone anywhere, that the space around them is changing. And as is explained in my books and other things, is what they're doing is they are translating other vibrations from the torsion field around them, and that we never move or shift. It's simply the reality around us is changing. And they are showing, you know, from that latest talk, how that is working for them, but that they're still having to use their computer system, which, even though they say they're from 5 dimension at that point, I feel they may be a higher fourth dimensional, because they're still using technology in order to be able to create that. And once we move more into the 5DA, as I call it, you'll no longer have to have a computer system to interface with that. You'll simply be able to translate those vibrations around you, and you'll be what we call teleporting. You'll simply be in another space instantly, because it's not you shifting, but the reality around you is simply changing. You know, it's kind of like, I guess if you go to take a photo and they pull down that screen behind you, you know, one minute you're taking a picture of you standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, the next minute you're taking a picture standing in front of the pyramids in Egypt. You haven't moved. It's simply the reality around you, at least the projection of the reality around you, has shifted. And that is how space, what we call space travel, actually works. And that's one of the reasons why science has such a hard time in attempting to work out their computations and formula by moving through space. You know, one of the things that they have found in the past, and I actually wrote a long paper to a group of quantum physicists who were looking for funding. I wrote them a paper explaining why they're having a problem trying to work out moving through space and so on. And what they found is that the speed of light is never consistent, which means all their formulas are always wrong, because there's no constant that they have in there. And I explained to them that space, moving through space and so on, is an illusion, that you're never actually moving. That's the reality around you in itself that is changing. And again, this is another sign tying back into the science concept that we're moving further into the fourth dimension, that we're starting to be able to combine what was called science with the metaphysical spiritual world. And that has to happen in order for us to move forward, because, as I stated, the 3D material world is not beyond 3D material world. And so I wanted to kind of cover those things and let you know that the concepts that I've been putting out in the past, from the connection to my higher self, that they're now getting confirmation for those of you who need more than one source to confirm something. So I'm just passing this on to you to show you that things are changing. We are moving forward. So get yourself prepared mentally to accept, to be able to be moving forward, and that the systems around you have to change. And I'm telling you to let go of those systems, the old systems, the old 3D systems, in order to help yourself and everyone else be able to move forward, so to speak, even though, remember, we're not actually moving anywhere. We're simply changing a reality. Remember, as I said before, that we're not actually ascending, and we're not actually changing our vibration. I did talk about that in the last paper, is the idea that we're simply allowing ourselves to be able to translate more of the vibrations around us, but we're not actually increasing our vibration in that respect. So we're just being able to translate more of what the reality is around us, and that's what some of these things are being shown. So anyway, have yourself a great day.